The Ikota building demolition that happened recently can be described as an avoidable disaster. These obviously are one of the unfortunate, events that have actually happened, in the course of real estate activities in Lagos, Nigeria. My heart goes to every property owners that were, affected by this. But the truth obviously must be said. When you're buying property in Lagos, Nigeria, you should understand that the Lagos state government, right from the during the era of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, have conceived a mega city plan to urbanize Lagos so that Lagos state can have standard to what we have in countries like the New York, Dubai, and every other developed countries across the world. And this is one of the reasons why it is very important that you understand some stipulated rules, regulations, and of course, boundaries and setbacks that have been enmarked by either Lagos state government or federal government before you embark on property acquisition. So, in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the Ikota building demolitions and important lessons that real estate investors must pick from this. I'll be back immediately after this short commercial. Don't go nowhere. You're welcome to this channel. In case you're coming across this video for the first time, this is where we discuss everything that regards to Lagos State's real estate investment. And please, if you like this content, if you have gotten a lot of information from this, please try and subscribe, turn on the notification bell. You can also drop your comments and share this video with your loved ones. More importantly, those who you so much care about their investment. So we're talking about the importance, the Ikota building demolitions. What are the important lessons? What are the issues, and what must we do going forward? Of course, we also that the Commissioner of Environment in the person of Mr. Tokunbo Lawal and his team embarked on enforcement of drainage rules and regulations in Lekki, and of course this warranted that some buildings should be demolished, though government have given several reasons for these demolitions. I'm not here to repeat or talk about what government have said, but basically the aim of this video is for you to understand what you need to do, because you see this demolition is now becoming a norm, and then what we have seen in Ikota is child's play compared to what is coming to other places. Today the Ikota demolition is the subject of news of every reporter, and many people are not even aware that there are more looming demolitions that will be coming. So as your real estate investor and of course your real estate anchor, my job basically is to explain some certain circumstances that may warrant future demolition. So what actually happened in the Ikota building, why were structures demolished? Now the first thing you must understand basically is that in one of my videos I gave several instances of what I call title falsification. Now under that title falsification, I explained that I have witnessed instances in one of the due diligence. Of course, I've done several due diligence for several of my real estate investors who want to buy some properties in the Lekki, and what we discovered is very, very alarming. And this obviously is one of the reasons why it is very important that you work with the appropriate authorities if you are investing in Lagos. Now, under title falsification, 60% of the cases of demolition in Ikota can be described as a situation whereby a developer has a C of O title document covering just 2 plots of land. Okay, I'm citing an instance anyway. Having a C of O title document covering 2 plots of land, and he is building on 8 or 6 plots of land. Now, the developer is confident of the fact that since I have a two plots inside that C of O, I can approach government, to extend and of course get C of O for the other plots that does not have the title. So basically it is very important for a developer to present a title document saying that this property has a governor's consent, this property has a C of O or whatever title that is being projected, and there is 80% likelihood that all the plots or the acres inside that estate may not fall inside the title. And that is why government basically is enforcing those regulations. So one of the things that happened basically is that although many developers have governor's consent, but the governor's consent that they have on their property does not cover the entire plot in which the houses were constructed. In fact, there was a standing order or a stop work order that was issued by the Lagos State Commissioner of Environment for real estate developer to stop construction until the proper clean drainage channel has been constructed. Many of these real estate developers failed to listen to some of these instructions. They still went ahead, and one of the things that happened basically is that many of them deliberately sand filled larger portion of the canal, thinking that government will not find out. And what many of them fail to understand basically is that there is a clear layout plan that indicates where a canal is, where the right of way starts, and where the right of way ended. So one of the reasons and one of the things you should look out for basically if you are buying properties is to ensure that the portion of which you will be given is inside the property title that has been given to you. So it is very important you look at that, because if you don't, you also may fall or become a victim of property demolition. Then the other factors that also happen basically is due to the fact that some people were able to pay some allegedly some people were able to pay some government officials. It was alleged that some government officials collected 5 million from these developers for them to continue the constructions, and they turned blind eyes to it. This is an alleged accusation. There is no evidence to show that it happened, but for the fact that project continued, the project wouldn't have gone that far if some government agencies were not aware of some of these things. So there could be every possibility that that allegation is true. So that takes us to the second point: verify every approval that is being given to you by real estate developer, because I've seen instances whereby some of the approvals that have been given may not cover the entire project or cover the entire construction. So these are some of the manipulations that we have seen as far as real estate activities is concerned. So a lot of things. And another thing basically that you also need to understand basically is that if you are investing in Lagos, there is a master plan, there is a layout, and it is very important that you correlate or you check and ensure that the layout that is being offered by the real estate developer correlates to what is available on what Lagos state government is. Now, there've been a lot of instances of conflicting of interest whereby some layout that has been presented by some real estate developers contradict what they have available in the Ministry of Housing, Urban Development in Alausa. And that is why it is very important that you correlate and of course you ensure that some of these things are in sync with each other before you also invest if you are buying properties in Lagos. Now, what are the important lessons? Number one, for some of us that are buying properties, whether it's on the island, whether it's on the mainland, whether it's any part of the state, it is very important basically that you pay attention to some of these things. Number one, a lot of real estate development companies today shift attention to where the market is moving. Now, that is not to say that you should not buy where there is future prospect, where there is future return on investment, where there is future certainty that your investment will give you good return on investment. In the process of trying to buy or acquire properties, there are 3 important things you must do. Now, a lot of people have come to explain, or they've come to bite their fingers about their real estate investment. Now, I'm going to use the Ikota as a case study. Now, you need to understand basically that Lagos is a state. Lekki is a place that is prone to periodic floodings. Now, I've done a lot of videos explaining that there are deliberate attempts by government to ensure that some of the drainage canals that is supposed to channel all this water to their appropriate canals are being blocked. Today, everybody is talking about Ikota. It's not only Ikota that is guilty. When you go to other places of Megamond, developers have built on drainage. If you go to Ikate, some people have built on drainage. If you go to other places on the island, a lot of people have built on the drainage. So as long as flooding continues to happen in Lekki, there will be necessity for all the drainage channel to be properly cleared, to allow free flow of water to its appropriate canals or where they have been stationed to go. What is the way forward? The first thing you must do, basically, if you are buying in Lagos, is to ensure that the title that is being projected to you is what is on the plot of land. What do I mean by that? In Elenrongbe presently, right now, because I'm going to use that as a case study, there were a lot of real estate development companies that bought land that claimed to have excisions. A lot of them bought properties that have excisions, allegedly, according to them. But today, in that same Elenrongbe right now, the same estates that have excision have been resold to other development companies. Now, what exactly is the reason for this? The first thing you need to understand basically is that when it comes to title, if you buy a property that has a title, there are some important things that needs to be done. Unfortunately, some of the excision that was projected to real estate investors were never excised in the first place. I've done due diligence in larger part of Ikota Lekki, and one of the things I got to find out basically is that the documents that is being projected to real estate investors were actually in process. I made a video where I was explaining the difference between C of O in process, C of O file number. I would recommend that you watch this video so that you can have an accurate understanding of how this industry works. Back to my discussion about Ikota Lekki. Some places were excision in process and they were sold as excision. Some places were C of O in process, they were sold as C of O. Today, if you go to that same place, okay, where real estate developers have sold to investors, more importantly in the Elenrongbe axis right now, the C of O has been revoked. I said C of O. The excision in process has been revoked because you see, some of these families that were supposed to get this excision started the process, but they never completed it. So when an excision number is being given, that excision needs to be documented in a gazette. It is through that gazette that you can find out the day it was given, the volume it was recorded, the day it was signed, who signed it, and whose department can you trace that record to. Now, you have bought a government allocation land in Ikota Lekki. Congratulations to you if you have done that. Let me equally remind you, today we are talking about demolitions that is happening in Ikota, that is happening in Lekki and other parts of Lagos. What is coming to Ikota Lekki is going to be like a flood. A lot of people are deliberately violating principles, government. A lot of people are violating the master plan. Today now we have a lot of schemes in Ikota Lekki. We have the Berekodo scheme, we have the Yeguda scheme, we have the Ayetoro scheme, and several other schemes that we have. Now, when government want to take possession of land, they introduce scheme. Now, a lot of people whose properties are not properly documented in Ikota Lekki, let me see, there's nothing to beat about the bush or cut corners or trying to paint anything that does not exist. Your property is gone. If you don't have a C of O, if you don't have a gazette or a registered title on your land in Ikota Lekki, the moment you go there and you find out that there is a scheme on your property, whether it is Iberekodo scheme, whether it is Yeguda scheme, whether it is Ayetoro scheme, there are a lot of schemes in Ikota Lekki, whether it is Labour City scheme, whether it is a paid mixed development scheme. That simply means you go to the NTDA, the New Town Development Agencies, and you go and buy the property from government through an allocation. Now, if you have bought the property through an allocation and there is a government allocation, because of so for us or for you as a real estate investor not to suffer the same state that many investors are, don't stop at allocation. No, proceed from allocation and you get your title registered, get a C of O. So if you are buying a government allocation, buy from a company who is going to go further to do a C of O. Buy under the clause or circumstances that you will do the C of O. If you will not do the C of O, you, the investor, must be ready to do the C of O, because there was a time whereby if you have an excised land, if you have excision in Lekki, it is 100% safe. Right now, the trajectory has changed. The music has changed. The pattern of operation have changed. You need to understand this as a real estate investor so that you will not be making the same mistake. So the trajectory has changed. The game has changed. Now, allocation right now is the excision of that time. So don't stop at allocation. Get your title done. Make sure the developer does the right thing. And trust me, you will be thanking me for sharing this important information. So there's a lot of things I want to discuss, but because of the fact that I don't want this video to be unnecessarily long, I'll be breaking them down in series. And this is why you need to subscribe to this channel. You need to turn on the notification bell. You need to follow us, and of course you need to share this video with your friends and family. Trust me, I will tell you things the way they are. There's nothing to sugarcoat anything. I'll tell you the way they are, so that your investment that is supposed to serve a retirement plan will not become a retirement problem and struggles from government. Thank you very much. See you in my next video. Bye for now. God bless you.